Hey guys, it's Glenn from glenscarcollection.com, and lately we've been driving my favorite cars ever, the Lamborghini Performante, the Ferrari A12 Superfast, and this could be my favorite of all time, the 992 Porsche GT3. Now this looks beautiful. I love blue cars, bright blue cars, but if I couldn't get blue, I think I would spec it out just like this with the chalk and the black wheels. To me, chalk needs black wheels, and that's just me. So now this is the 992 GT3 that's available in a 6-speed manual or PDK. And I said 6-speed manual, not 7-speed like my 991.2 Carrera. They only went with 6 speeds here, not 7 speeds. They probably don't need the gas mileage, what have you. Special thanks, of course, to DCH Montclair Acura. And I finally bought a car from them the other day on Saturday. So you'll see a video of what car I bought. And remember always to subscribe to the channel and check out their website. They always have about 80 Glen cars in stock. Everything from 992s to AMGs to Ferraris, Lamborghinis, you name it, they have it. All right, so what does the GT3 give us? I don't know if you can see it down there, but it's a 4.0 flat 6 producing 502 horsepower. Now there's a GT3 and a GT3 Touring. The GT3 has this wing, and it almost looks like, if you've seen the other GT3s, like it's upside down. And it is adjustable. You could put it in different positions. The Touring has no wing, and the Touring was a no-cost option on the 991.2s, and the Touring on the 991.2s came in manual only, where on the regular 991.2 GT3 that came out in model year 2018, you can get a stick or a PDK, but only the Touring was a manual. Now, I like the wing. If I'm going to spend this much money on a car, I want the freaking wing, but that's just me. Now, this has steel brakes instead of ceramics, but center lock wheels. This is the way I would spec it, honestly. I think you have to have center locks, but I would go with the steels. It's a lot cheaper to replace than the ceramics. I know the ceramics unsprung weight and you don't have the brake dust, which will look good at Cars and Coffee or having the ceramics for the track, but I don't want to replace ceramics. So me personally, if I'm spending my money, I'm going to option out the steels. All right, so let's take a look inside. You know, there's not much that you could see on these cars. I got the key in my pocket, so the handle, sometimes the handle comes out. Okay, maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm thinking of another car. All right, let's see. Inside, we'll do the trunk. It's just storage in the front, so they call it the frunk, which is front trunk. Of course, UPS has to come here when I'm filming. Thanks, Mr. UPS man. When I was a kid, I used to love to see that truck coming. If you press this, you got your floor mats there, all carbon fiber underneath. That's awesome. The battery's here. You just take it off and you have your fluids there too. I always kind of hardwire my 911 on a tender. You can fit your hockey bag here. I could fit mine if I remove my skates because I have huge feet and my helmet, but I can squish the rest of the bag there. Porsche has the best headlights, high beams, low beams, you name it. Here you got the clear side markers. I wonder if you can option those out now. I bought those from my car. I got to put them on. And let's take a look at the inside and start her up. I got the key in my pocket, so it has the permanent key. Oh, I'm dressed for work today. I'm doing this in between listing appointments. I'm slumming it for you guys. So I'm going to put the seatbelt on, nice red seatbelt, which I think works perfectly with chalk. And we're going to start it up. Permanent key here, so the key's in my pocket. Listen to that sound. All right. So now, sport exhaust system we're going to put on. Legal info update. So there's a lot of stuff here that you have to do, and it's been sitting in the sun, so the air is going to run. There's a lot of stuff here where you have to do notifications and like your phone and stuff. So technology, I guess there's nothing we can do here. So the good thing is we don't have to do the start, stop, start. We got the chassis on sport, and how we do that with the dial. So we have normal, sport, and track. So we're going to drive in sport mode, of course. This is a PDK, so we could drive in. They made it look like the manual transmission. I don't know, so you won't be embarrassed at Cars and Coffee. I have no idea. But the PDK, of course, is a fantastic transmission. And even someone who's really good at stick and heel toe like me, I can't possibly shift or downshift as fast as this car. You have the Sport Chrono. You definitely want the Sport Chrono. I'm not sure about the GT3s, but I know in the regular 911s, without Sport Chrono, you don't get the launch control. So I don't think it's necessary, because I think it's just an enhanced throttle on the manuals. But to me, it's necessary in the PDK because you want that launch control. So we got the sport exhaust. I'm going to take off the stop start. We're going to drive in sport. Now we could drive with the chassis, which is going to be real stiff, or we can drive in a more comfortable mode, even though we're going to have the rest, everything else in sport. This is our front nose lift. So we press it, it turns red, and now it's raising the vehicle. It'll go down at speed, so we'll raise it to get out of the driveway here. And then we could shut off stability control or traction control. We're not going to do that because it's not our car. These sport buckets, so I'm 6 feet, 180 pounds, so I fit just fine in the sport buckets. It's hard to get in and out, but once you're in here, it feels fantastic. So do you need the sport bucket? No. I would say if I'm going to track and do a lot of aggressive driving, I would do it. If I'm not going to track and I'm just kind of driving to Cars and Coffee or just blasting my mountain road, I would probably just save the money and get the regular seats. But, you know, obviously having the carbon fiber buckets will help for resale. So we're going to put it in manual mode. I know the PDK could shift great, but I want to do something, so I'm going to do the paddles. Paddles have a really good feel to them. They don't feel cheap like they do in a lot of cars, but they're too small, and I'm sure there's aftermarket options. After the cyclist goes, everything's warmed up. I drove to this location, so our fluids are good, and let's go. Oh, man. Wow, you hear that sound? Now, it makes a big difference with the sport exhaust. I drove here with this, to not attract attention, I drove here with the sport exhaust off, and it was a lot quieter. Now, this is really bumpy road, so what I can tell you first off, it's stiff, just like, say, the 997 GT3. I don't think the 991, I've driven both, the RS.1 and the .2 GT3 manual. And again, we have 1,000 video reviews on this channel, so like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, I do at least 2 to 3 videos a week, and you need that notification bell after you subscribe to know when I'm posting the videos. But if you're ever bored on a weekend or midweek and I don't have any videos, you got 1,000 to choose from, and many of the cars have manual transmissions. So it does feel stiffer to me than the 991.2. It feels a lot stiffer, to be honest. So at the end of this video, let's drive it through the twisties. We'll drive it back to the dealership, and at the end, I'll go over the differences between this and a turbo. Because if you can afford this, you can afford a turbo or a Turbo S. Now, right off the bat, it doesn't have the shove as the turbo. Remember, it's a 4-liter flat 6, naturally aspirated. So my car is a 3.6 flat 6 turbocharged, and the turbo motors, obviously, for the 992 have turbochargers, so they have a lot more grunt. At this 4,000 RPM with the turbo, you fly. You think you're on a rocket. Now this car, even though it's super fast with a great 0 to 60 time, it doesn't feel anywhere near as fast as the turbo, and it's not supposed to. This one is about the handling. So now we'll drive through some turns here. Now they've kind of dialed out the rear engine. I had a 993 turbo and a 996 C4S, and you could really feel that those cars were rear engine. Now the steel brakes work fantastic there. And you could actually shift with your foot down on the gas. Now these turns were so good, we're gonna have to do them again. Wow. But look at the razor sharp turn in here, no body roll. That's an off camber turn, and it's just, incredible. It really is incredible. All right, let's take those turns again. The brakes really stop the car. This PDK is fun, that's for sure. Look how loud it is, and we're driving in sport mode. There's also track mode. And this car just has a razor sharp turn in. Probably the sharpest turn in I've driven in any car. Oh man. All right, so what we'll do is accelerate again. Now the PDK is so good. Like, I think they engineered a little like movement with the shifting, but it's so good. It's like, look how seamless that shifting is. So is the PDK better than the manual? Absolutely. Would I take the manual? Probably, just because of the involvement. But you could be very involved here. I would, you know, if you want to be more involved, put in manual mode like I just did and play with the paddles. It's very loud in here. There's not much sound deadening, so hopefully all these sounds, at least the good ones, are coming through to the GoPro. It's stiff, but not crazy stiff, but it's about, you know, the turbos and the Turbo S's, and I did videos of both the 992 and 992 Turbo S's. There wasn't a big power difference between the two. I think it's like 30 or 50 horsepower, but it's not like a huge difference. And here I definitely notice the difference between a GT3 and, say, set turbo, because it is just so stiff, this car, for sure. And we're gonna go at the light if everybody lets us. And so that's how you really should do it. I mean, what do you want to do? Are you going to drive this on the street 100% of the time in a Cars and Coffee? You'll certainly be the star at Cars and Coffee with the 992 GT3 over the Turbo. GT3 does not disappoint, but neither does the Turbo S. So if you're going to use it as a daily driver, and you could use it as a daily driver, of course, but if you don't have the body type for the sport seats and you just want to be comfortable in a fast, beautiful car, I would 100% get the Turbo S. If I was going to track at least half the time, I would say more half the time, then I would get the GT3. The GT3 is a no-brainer. Get it in PDK or manual, and I think you will be just fine. Now let's try it. I know, so I'm going to put the transmission in auto to see how it does here. And then I'm going to put this, like an insane maniac, into track mode and just see how stiff track mode is if we were running errands today. Let's say I was going to a listing appointment or going to show a building. I have my GT3. I want to prove to the world that I could track this every day. So I'm going to drive in track mode to run my real estate business. Oh, and this has a fire extinguisher too. I forgot about that. Now, I filled this car up with gas. It's got a big fuel tank. I think it's got the extended tank. I didn't fill it up all the way. I filled it up like 3/4 of a tank because I was running late to shoot this video, and it was like $90-something for 3/4 of a tank. And of course it takes 93. And the great thing about being in New Jersey, or say on the East Coast, we get 93 octane. Now my back is starting to hurt a little bit from these seats, but I have a hockey player's back, so I wouldn't go by that. But beautiful in here with the red piping and the stitching. I could look at this tachometer all day long. What I love about the 992, it has the 5 dials, and they're all digital now except the center tachometer, which they kept analog, which is fantastic. You still have the digital speed there, but the tachometer is actually analog. So this is what you would run into if you drove this as a daily driver: garbage trucks. Now it is incredibly stiff in track mode, so I would probably honestly never drive in track mode. All right, so let's try normal mode. And we're letting the car shift for itself. So third gear, 25 miles an hour, fourth gear, 27 miles an hour. Why is this guy getting off here? Fifth gear, 33 miles an hour. Sixth gear, 43 miles an hour. Seventh gear, 48 miles an hour. So it's trying to be as efficient as a 502 horsepower GT3 can be. Now the torque isn't this high, that high on this car. Why? Because it's got a smaller engine, and the engine makes horsepower by building revs, right? So it's not a Hellcat. If you're used to a muscle car, you're not going to have the torque from the GT3. But hey, I love high revving engines, and I would take that any day over torque, as much as I love torque and turbos. All right, guys, we're at the end of the video here, so I'm going to get the nose lift on. Let's see. Ooh, look at that 8 Series. Ooh, baby, an 850. That's awesome. All right, guys, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And GT3 if you want the track, Turbo and Turbo S if you want the street. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.